And hello, everybody. This is John coming to you. This is something to talk about. Kinsley, how have you been?
Been doing pretty good, Big John. How's it going?
Well, I can't complain. It was a rough week last week, but things have gotten better. Billy Ray is not here tonight, so I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but either way, he is calling some baseball tonight with a local talk show in town, our radio station. So that's good.
Yeah,
good. Yeah, so good for him.
Yeah.
So talking about some of our sponsors, we'll get to them in a minute. But shout out to Cotton Blues. Kinsley, they have some of the best cheesecakes and food around, and they've ventured out in doing their cheesecakes, and you can find them in Jones County at the corner markets in Ellisville and in Laurel. So be sure to go by and check those out. So
nice location.
They are great family groceries in two great towns. So Kinsley, let's get right down to it, buddy. Talking about NCAA basketball, I think that's a hot topic right now. And you got to give credit, whether you like them or you don't like them, to the Mississippi State Bulldog men's basketball team.
Man, they are solid.
They are. They are doing some good things. In Coach Ben Howland's third year, the other night they beat Louisville at Louisville by like 13 points or so. And so they are headed. Yeah, so they are headed to Madison Square Garden to play Penn State in the Final Four of the NIT. What's your thoughts about that?
And they're playing a big-time team on a big-time stage. They're gonna have to, whatever they've been doing to win some ball games, which, of course, is, put the ball in the hoop more than the other team, of course. But, on a bigger stage, playing a bigger opponent, what they've been doing, they have to do it a whole lot more and a whole lot better.
You're absolutely right. And talking about that, an interesting matchup could take place in the championship. Western Kentucky University is now coached by Rick Stansberry. They're going to be playing Utah tomorrow night. And, Rick Stansberry used to coach at Mississippi State. So
exactly,
what a matchup that would be in the NIT final championship game with Mississippi State and Western Kentucky.
Yeah, that's going to be a pretty intense matchup. Well, tell me this. Has he ever played on such a big-time stage before?
Mississippi State has played in the NCAA championships back in 2009 and 10. They were also in the Final Four back in 1996 and 7, or 97, I should say. And, they've been there, but it's been a while. So it's something new for these kids. And so, that says a lot. And just, in the short while Ben Howland's been there, the Bulldogs haven't, really done much in the last decade, so it's good to see them back in postseason play.
Yeah, it's anytime you can always take your team to the next level, then put your school on the map. That's always a great thing. So, just making it to that standpoint. There's a lot of teams out there that even only imagine making it to that point. So, just the fact that you're there. So now that you're there, focus on the here and now and just take advantage of the opportunity.
Absolutely. So, moving on to the bigger stage, the NCAA tournament, March Madness, as they call it. There are 4 teams left, and in case you haven't heard, you have Loyola of Chicago taking on Michigan, and you also have Villanova taking on Kansas. Now, an interesting fact there, 2 Mississippi connections in both of those games, Kinsley. Back in 1964, During that time, the governor of the state of Mississippi told the Mississippi State men's basketball team that you can't go play Loyola because, during that time segregation was pretty big going on, and Mississippi State was primarily white at that time, and Loyola was black, and so the governor said you guys wasn't going, and so
Wow.
Check this out. The Bulldog basketball team basically said, screw you, Governor. And they went and played in the tournament. Now, they ended up losing to Loyola during the game, but I tell you what, that says a lot. And Loyola's, taking on Michigan. And, I'm kind of leaning with Loyola because they have Loyola is a Catholic institution, and so they have a sort of a cheerleader, so to say, and Sister Jean. Now, Sister Jean's been getting a lot of attention, and I don't know what she's doing for the Loyola team, but I tell you what, she's bringing them tons of luck. What's your thoughts, Kinsley? Is it luck, or is it just talent?
I'm also not big on the luck thing, but I mean, when it comes to things like that, it's just talent. I mean, luck didn't really get you to where you are. I mean, you have talent on your team. Talent has, taken you through the season, and it takes a really good coach to be able to bring out the talent in a squad, and then just a squad being able to work together as a team to display their talent on the court.
Absolutely,
so it's really all talent.
Good. That's a good thought, Kinsley. And another thing. I kind of think, the power of prayer might have a little something to do with it.
It's always that. It's always that.
So, a little extra prayer never does hurt somebody. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. And sometimes when you're coaching a team, sometimes it takes a lot of prayer to, bring the team to where they need to be.
You're absolutely right.
When you have talent, I mean, I've heard of a lot of teams, John, where they have talent, but the team is they're not cohesive as a unit. I mean, they're separated. I mean, mentally and everything else, they're not connected. It's not like a family atmosphere. So that's where the prayer comes in.
You got that right.
Like, I got the talent right here. I mean, I just need you guys to be a unit. I need you guys to function as one team. Once we do that, we have all the talent in the world.
Absolutely. And so moving on to the next game, you're going to have Villanova taking on Michigan. I mean, not Michigan, but Kansas. And so Kansas has a former Mississippi State Bulldog, a former Callaway product in Malik Newman. And this past weekend against Duke, Newman scored 32 points.
Wow.
And so, he didn't like what Ben Howland was doing. There was a lot of young talent coming on. And this is the problem I have with the one and done. They come to the university and they expect that instant NBA stardom. And everybody's not Seth Curry. I mean, they may have shined in their AAU league, but, Division I basketball is a different story.
Right. It is a whole different level.
So, what do you think about Newman getting those 32 points against the Dukesters?
For an individual, that's a very impressive step.
It is. So shout out to Malik Newman. I'm not much for him, but, it is what it is. But I think it's time for a break, and so we're going to mention our fine sponsors. And Kinsley, hold on, and we'll be back after these messages.
Yep.
At Central Sunbelt, you can bank on your own time with 24-hour ATM deposits. Deposit cash at any Central Sunbelt branch ATM any time of day, any day of the week, and receive quick access to your funds within the hour. Check deposits are processed hourly during our extended member service hours. Try today by selecting Mixed Media Deposit at your local Central Sunbelt ATM. Some limitations apply. For more information, visit sunbeltfcu.org.
Hub City Madness is about making people aware for the various forms of rock music that has lived and made in our great city of Hattiesburg. Mississippi is the birthplace of rock and roll, and we need to act accordingly. Flickless Tax Service in Taylorsville offers free 1040 and free estimates. With over 50 years combined tax experience, this team is up to date on current tax changes and specializes in preparing all federal and state returns, including corporations. They can prepare W-2s and 1099s, as well as assist in obtaining EINs for new businesses. Stop by Flickless Tax Service on Highway 28 in Taylorsville for fast, friendly service at a great price. Or call 601-785-6900.
Hattiesburg Tattoo opened in September 2015 by Brian Jordan Stony Boy. Their motto is doing badass tattoos for the hard-working people in Hattiesburg. They currently have some of the best tattoo artists in the Pine Belt area, including Brian Jordan, owner artist, Stony Boy, owner artist, Tay Cole, artist, Hunter Applewhite, artist, Kim MacArthur, artist. Brian holds best of the Pine Belt for 2015 and 2016. We're the home of Halloween's free tattoo day.
With Big John, Kinsley, and Billy Ray. You know your opinion worth information compared to those local radio guys who still play with Star Wars toys. You're listening to Something to Talk About.
And welcome back, everybody, to Something to Talk About. We're remote today. Kinsley's coming from somewhere, and I'm coming to you from somewhere.
Yes, we're somewhere, John, huh? Just somewhere.
Well, you know, I didn't want to give away our locations in case, you know, stalkers and everything nowadays. You know, you can't never.
That was crazy.
It is. So, staying on the Final Four, let's make some picks for next weekend. So, you have this weekend, Loyola Chicago versus Michigan. And Villanova and Kansas. Who do you got?
I'm taking Villanova over Kansas and Loyola.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I like your picks, and you know, I think those are some solid picks. And I think Villanova, you know, I think they will win again. Well, win this year. So, you know, so we'll should be an interesting game to look forward to. Now, talking about the NCAA women's basketball, as you all well know, the Mississippi State Lady Bulldogs are going to the Final Four, and they're going to be taking on Louisville. And so, you know, the games that are going to be played tonight will be South Carolina and UConn. And UConn has got a 21-point lead over the Lady Gamecocks at halftime. Then you have Oregon and Notre Dame. So, what are your thoughts there, Kinsley?
Pretty intense matchups. Some teams, I think, will actually, you know, pose themselves, you know, is better competition against their opponent. But, you know, hey, to be honest with you, John, I mean, when it comes to, like, college basketball, I mean, sometimes I can watch the big games. Sometimes I really can't. But, I mean, when I catch a good game, hey, I'm all in. Basketball is one of those sports where, I mean, once you start watching, it's like it kind of draws you in because it's like
right.
The game can be decided within a tenth of a second.
You're exactly right. So
yeah, like if I had a bad heart, I couldn't watch.
Yeah, you got to be taking blood pressure medicine for sure.